yeah, I know it's been a long time in between episodes. Problem was, we had a software problem that basically crashed the system. Luckily, we were able to get a new system up and running, which is probably why you're seeing this right now. It was no one's fault, you know, things wear out. But unfortunately, there was a whole slew of already shot videos, which unfortunately are now lost forever. And me being me, never wrote anything the fuck down. So I have to dredge my memory and see what I did and what I didn't. But that's neither here nor there because we're back. And in addition to dealing with, you know, the software problems and things crashing and stuff like that, a few other things have happened. Nothing really earth-shatteringly good. I got some personal issues going on right now that I don't want to get into, and also there has been a lot of passings in the wrestling world since we last came on the air, unfortunately. You know, guys get older, they fade out, but unfortunately one guy wasn't that old, beautiful Bobby Eaton of the Midnight Express, who passed away at age 61. Bobby was having some health problems, and unfortunately his wife passed away a couple months before he did, which might have added to the situation. Bobby was probably one of the most well-liked men in professional wrestling. Nobody ever had a bad thing to say about him. Was a great worker. He was one half of the tag team, the Midnight Express, first with Dennis Condrey, and then with Stan Lane, managed by, of course, Jim Cornette, and they won tons of regional titles. World titles, basically wrestled all over the world. Their perennial opponents were Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson of the Rock and Roll Express, who in their 60s are still working today. But unfortunately, you know, we lost Bobby a couple weeks ago prior to me filming this. Another one we lost, older fans like myself that lived on the East Coast would remember Dominic DeNucci from the old WWF, where he was a mainstay in that promotion, a good friend of Bruno Sammartino, the living legend and the champ at the time, and held the tag titles with multiple partners. One, I believe, was Irish Pat Barrett when I first started watching wrestling. I think another one was Victor Rivera. He also wrestled in Florida and held tag titles down there with, I believe, God, I can't remember the guy's name, Tony something. But anyway, Dominic was 89 years old. Something else he did, which people may not remember, was he trained Mick Foley, who became Cactus Jack Mankind, Shane Douglas, who went on to become the ECW mainstay, and Brian Hildebrandt, whose wrestling name was Mark Curtis, who was a referee who sadly passed away years ago from stomach cancer. Unfortunately, all these things happened in three, and the third person to pass away was Jody Hamilton, a.k.a. the Masked Assassin. I had something. Where the hell did I put this thing? God. Talk about organization. I'm not organized. You would recognize him here. He was a mainstay in Florida as the Assassins Tag Team with Tom Ernesto. Basically a perennial foe of, you know, the ever-beloved Dusty Rhodes. Also, it was an interesting thing about Jody that he was born in, I believe, Missouri or something like that. He had an elder stepbrother that was 6 years older than he was, Larry Hamilton, who went through professional wrestling. Now, Jody had a run-in with a cop in his hometown, and basically, you know, reading this in the book, he was going to be set up, arrested, and killed for resisting arrest. That's how bad the cops hated him down there. And of course, when you're dealing with redneck cops, it doesn't surprise me. But his brother called him and told him, stay in the house, don't go anywhere. If you go anywhere, go with mom or your aunt or something like that, and wait till I call you. Well, Larry got him up to New York, where they tagged as a brother tag team, and Jody was probably one of the young, I think Jody was the youngest guy to headline a card at Madison Square Garden before he became the Assassin. He was a very agile big man, very well-spoken, basically, you know, when he cut a promo, you believed he was going to go out and mess somebody up. Jody became a trainer when he retired from the ring for WCW at the Power Plant, and also I believe he was a trainer for the WWE at Ohio Valley Wrestling. Jody was also scheduled to make an appearance at the Championship Wrestling from Florida Fan Fest that they were putting together, but unfortunately he passed away in his mid-80s before he could do so. So unfortunately we lost three guys. Another guy we lost was from Memphis, Bert Prentice. I believe he was a promoter or something down there, or an on-air personality, but I'm not that familiar with Bert. So unfortunately, you know, we opened back up with a sort of a sour note, but, you know, like I said, guys are getting up there. Like I said, Dominic was 89, you know, a good run. So it's just fucking sad. And the other thing is, and this will be another segment here to air later, I will not be publishing Grindhouse Purgatory after issue number 20. Reason being is that the last three issues I have lost money on, and I said, you know, I would keep this going as long as it didn't cost me money, but being that we were in a pandemic and people were sort of, you know, looking for something to do and keep them busy, I kept it going. After I sat down about a month ago and did the math, I found out that I was losing on every issue because, unfortunately, I don't get my issues until they're probably on Amazon on for a month, and people, you know, buy them from Amazon, which basically I get a handful of change, which doesn't amount to a hell of a lot. And to be honest with you, I don't want to fund Mr. Bezos' space trips anymore. So, you know, it's a hard decision on my part because, you know, it's almost like, you know, saying goodbye to a child or something like that. But I really feel that, you know, after 20 issues, you know, myself and the writers have given you an encyclopedia of great, you know, film information. And we never had to go with, you know, the shitty Pablum franchises like the Friday the 13th and the Nightmare on Elm Streets and stuff like that, because we always found enough stuff that was basically more interesting than that stuff, and it was, you know, a privilege to, you know, hip you to those things. And all I can say at this point, you know, it's sad to say goodbye, but I can't fund this magazine anymore. It's that simple. You know, it's just I'm on a fixed income. I'm on whatever Social Security gives me. And a lot of things have changed. So, unfortunately, you know, I can't do it anymore. And another thing is sort of apathy among whatever, because I don't see any reviews for this stuff. I see ratings on Amazon, which really don't mean shit to me. It would have been nice, you know, for me and the other writers to know what, you know, people liked about the magazine and what made them buy it. But unfortunately, you know, that ship has sailed. And like I say, I hate to end it on a sour note, but it simply comes down to the fact that I can't afford to do it anymore. I basically, after I send out, you know, contributor copies and some review copies to certain people, it just wound up costing me, you know, more money than I can afford to lay out at this point. So sadly, that's going to come to an end. But, you know, I'm not at an end. I thank, you know, Happy Cloud Publishing for, you know, all they did from 2014 up until now. You know, it's, you know, they did a great job. You know, they put this twisted jigsaw puzzle together twice a year for me. And, you know, Mike Watt and Amy Lynn Best, you know, did great by us. But unfortunately, sad to say, we just can't continue it. So, you know, it's not the end for me. I will probably do something else down the road. It's just like I say, until things change or I can figure out a way to, you know, do something. It wasn't a point where I wanted the magazine to make money, which would have been nice. All I wanted to do was break even, which it did, but back then I was connected with a certain convention that I'm no longer connected with, and can't go there to sell, you know, a handful of issues that basically would have covered the expenses. So, like I said, with the writers, it's been an honor and a privilege working with you. I hope we can do it again down the road, but I appreciate everything you did. And like I always said, Grindhouse Purgatory wasn't all about me. a lot of people, contributed and made it, what it was, a good read. So, again, it was an honor and privilege working with you guys, and I hope we can do it down the road again. So, like I said, hate to end it, but unfortunately, all good things must come to an end. But again, I can see myself doing something, down the road when things get a little better. So, if you're a fan of Grindhouse Purgatory, I thank you for buying it. I hope you enjoyed it. And, fuck the money. That's immaterial at this point. One of the biggest compliments I've ever gotten on the magazine was that basically, I turned people on to some stuff that they ordinarily wouldn't have known about. And, some people said that Grindhouse Purgatory and this, meandering channel helped them get through the pandemic. Unfortunately, we're hitting pandemic 2. I hope I'm wrong, but, people, for whatever reason, have to behave like assholes and fuck the rest of us. So we may be locked down again. And to end this little segment, all I can say is, please mask up, please stay safe, get your shots. We don't know what the fuck we're dealing with. I'd rather see people alive and happy than out, trying to get to a convention that may be the last thing they ever do because people just aren't taking precautions. So please, stay safe and mask up.